Hey Chris, how you doing? That's a strip mall, the back of a strip mall. That's a Walgreens, and then like a place next to it. It's got like a hearing aid place, cell phone store, that kind of thing. Yeah, your mom's here right now, Gabbana. She's taking their place. The promotion. Hey Mary, how you doing? Where you been lately? Yeah, tomorrow's gonna be 70. I don't think they're not really, Brandy. I never found that to be a problem. They're really pretty mellow. Where are you at? Where are you located? Oh, are you, Mary? Oh, okay. What's the prognosis on that? Oh, okay, Grand Rapids, the old Bible Belt out there. Oh, okay, Kitchener, okay. Oh, good for you, Mary. Yeah, good. Glad that worked for you.
You've got mail.
Congratulations. No, I'm actually a couple hundred miles away from Detroit. Yeah, it's good, Mary. Good for you. Yeah, I can. They got that lockdown in Detroit, and they're writing people $1,000 tickets. And if they really want to be shitty, they could, impound my van and all sorts of crap. I was down there yesterday, but I know better than to, violate that social distancing. Hey, Hitman, how you doing? Yeah, I'd like to, believe me. But, it's still ramped up pretty good down Detroit. It's just not worth the risk. I mean, that's how they've proven that that's how you keep from spreading it. So I'm fine with it. It's like not even half as good when I go down there if I can't interview anybody. Oh yeah, it's true, Brandy. Yeah, you don't realize that until you get into this. It just kind of creeps up on you, right? It's a high risk lifestyle. Yeah, garden supplies. Yep, that's true. That's true. Supposed to get a couple more cold days, I guess. Sure was a cold April, I'll tell you that. It's going to be 70 tomorrow, but uh, oh, thank you, Mary. Yeah, Mary, I'm so glad that that's working for you. Chemotherapy is interesting, really. I mean, people that don't know what they're talking about, claim that it kills good cells, which it does, but there are a hell of a lot more people walking around today because of it than otherwise. So that's good for you. Got another bite of the apple. It's interesting how it works for some people and not for others. You know, I've had the same CPA for like 40 years, and I was friends with his secretary for a long time. And she got diagnosed with breast cancer back in November. And she died first week in March, 54. So the trick is catching it quick and finding something that works. So that's good. I've had like 5 old girlfriends from over the years die of breast cancer. Yeah, it definitely does. It does, Mary. Good for you. Glad for you. Hey, Tassie, how you doing down there? How's it going? Yeah, you know, just you be around long enough, it happens. So crazy, man. I think back, and I've had like 3 buddies of mine's wives die of breast cancer in their 40s. Isn't that crazy? And they were on this stuff too. I mean, it wasn't like they were skipping appointments. Yeah, it's no problem, Mary. It's interesting how it just goes some people's way. Long story short, I had my best friend in Chicago, if you can believe this, try not to laugh, was a Catholic priest. And we hung around all the time. And great guy. He had retired, a priest and a clerk had embezzled a bunch of money out of a parish, so they called him out of retirement. Went and did that for 2 years, got the place all straightened out again. If you look, and I've got videos uploaded over at his house, and also when a wealthy parishioner chartered us an airplane and we went down to Cleveland Clinic. But long story short, he called me one night and said that he was getting night sweats. So and I ended up taking to the doctors. We go through the whole thing. They're not really sure what the deal is. And finally, they determined that he's got lung cancer. And this is all within like about a 4 or 5 month period. So they decided to take a half of a lung out, which they did. And he's getting chemotherapy. And it finally got to where in no time it was like, this guy's not going to make it. So we went to Cleveland Clinic, came back. I mean, once you get a diagnosis from a couple of, you know, well-known cancer institutes, and they tell you that, look, these are the studies that we have. It's based on hundreds of thousands of studies. So minus spontaneous remission, these timelines they give you for cancer survivors are pretty accurate. And basically, I was with him when they said, hey, look, 3 months if you don't do any treatment, maybe 6 if you do. It was just like the saddest thing possible. This guy had a whole bunch of life to live. He was going to go over to India to a retreat, keep on doing free counseling, visiting prisoners, the whole bit. So I talked to him about it, and he was actually going down significantly during this whole time. And it just kept getting worse. And within about 6 months, he died. Just, God, man, they just, you know, the religious aspect, just being a good guy, no scandals, done so much for society, couldn't catch a break on this stuff. Yeah, he's a good guy. You'll see there's another famous priest. We were over at his house one day. If you look, Cimarusti, Frank Cimarusti, if you search my videos, you'll find him. Both those guys are dead now. The other priest was pretty famous too. He did this kind of prayer and healing, and the Catholic Church got on him about it and said, hey, look, you know, we don't want you doing any of this kind of bullshit. If you're going to go out and you're going to claim that these people are getting better, leave the Catholic Church out of it. Yeah, both those guys are gone now. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's just like working out. It's not going to guarantee you're going to live longer. Hopefully, you're going to live a healthier lifestyle, but you just never know. Yeah, yeah, it really is just how life is, man. You know, you just You just look at Patsy Ramsey, John Benet Ramsey. I mean, they go through all that bullshit. I mean, who knows what really happened? Then she ends up getting cancer on top of it. Yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely humbling, I'll tell you that. Yeah, lucky crapshoot sure is, yeah. It's genes expressing themselves, turning them on, environment. There's a lot of factors, which is why it isn't that predictable. But it was too bad for old Frank. He was a great guy. Yeah, it's funny you should say that, Zach, because what ended up happening is he didn't want to die in an assisted living care facility. So he moved in with his brother up in the northern suburb of Chicago. And, I got wind that he was not going to be around long. So I went over there and spent about an hour and a half with him. And I asked him about that. Because we talked about everything. It's like, hey, look, not that, you're privy to any direct line to Jesus, but I mean, you're a Monsignor, you've been a notable priest in the Chicago area for your entire career. Now that it's come to this point, what's your take on this whole thing? And he told me that all as he did was align the facts as good as he could and chose to believe in it. And that if he was wrong, he was wrong. He didn't think that he was wrong, but he thinks faith-based. It's a leap of faith. I mean, if it was all laid out with facts, everybody'd be religious. He said that he'd made the right decision. So he went down swinging to the very bitter end. But I'm telling you, it got painful for him at the end. And when your whole life is whether or not you're going to make it up these 3 flights of stairs in an old condominium in Chicago, when it boils down to that, things aren't looking good. He was such a healthy guy up until then, He thought that one of the reasons why he bought that unit was in a nice neighborhood was that he could get exercise every day. Well, as the chemotherapy went on, I mean, he was lucky to walk 3 or 4 feet some days. So coming to terms with it, I guess you could call it that. That's what he told me. Yeah, that's what. I thought it was super interesting as well. It's a pretty interesting conversation with him and that other priest over at his house that day. If you look in there, he was a real famous priest for healing people. Yeah, it's just one of those attitudes. You know what I mean? He wasn't a bullshitter. He'd tell you like it is. He also told me that in his entire career of 55 years of being an ordained Catholic priest, he never felt that he saw the examples of prayer working on one single occasion. He thought it was a complete and total waste of time. And he also had like 3 guys that had graduated from the seminary with him. And after about 15, 20 years into the priesthood, they said, screw this. They didn't like it. And they quit. Let me look on, I know I've watched this video myself a few times. I know if you put it into Google, it'll probably come up rather than looking at. Looking through my videos. Let me see. Oh yeah, here's the video right here. It's titled Friar Peter Rookie. Here, I'll write it out. Just put it in the search box. It's Friar. This guy was an interesting guy. This guy was actually on 60 Minutes one time. He's a really good guy. This is the title of the Friar Peter Rookie and Monsignor. Just type that, and you can even just type it in Google. And you can watch it. It's 3 minutes and 54 seconds. He was already not doing too hot by now. Let's see here. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, just type that in the search thing, my search box. And that's from about 8 years ago. Oh, yeah, some of it. Well, especially the Jesuits. Those are the academics of Christianity. Yeah, the Jesuits are smart. So are some of those monks that just focus on academia. Yeah, you're right about that, Mary. Yeah, that's the way I look at it, Jack. Yeah, he was a good guy. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Hey, Lisa, how you doing? You know, it's funny. I had kind of talked him into going to Cleveland Clinic, and the guy that was actually the ex-president of McDonald's Corporation, he hired us a limousine in that airplane, chartered us to fly down to Cleveland, and he was the president of McDonald's United States at the time. Really good guy. It was nice of him to do. But you know, on the Cleveland Clinic deal, I did the paperwork, and I talked to them at Cleveland Clinic, and I said, hey, look, you know, we'd love to come down there, but I don't want to be coming down there with a guy in this condition if you're not going to be up to snuff on everything that we sent. Because we called like on a Thursday, they called on a Friday and said, can you get down here Monday? It's like, yeah. And I thought immediately, you're not going to have a chance to look at all these films and images and reports. Oh, no, yeah, no problem. Long story short, we get down there. The doctor is an hour and a half late. Now, this isn't an emergency clinic. This is Cleveland Clinic, right? I talked to this doctor, and I can tell him he's bullshitting me about what he's read with regard to these studies and these films. So I pinned him down. I said, did you read this stuff or not? Well, I had a chance. I said, I didn't ask you if you had a chance. I clarified this before we came down here. This is a chartered airplane. We came down here for a special appointment, and I don't think you've read anything that we sent you. And he finally admitted that he didn't. So we got down there, and it's just one big giant waste of time. It's like $5,000 for the airplane, $800 for a limousine, blah, blah, blah.
You've got mail.
Total and complete waste of time. Good, Lisa. Hanging in there. Be glad to get back right and go down and do some interviews. Looking forward to that. Oh, that's cool, Zach. Isn't that the truth, man? Same here, Mark. Everybody's saying that now. I think it's really getting to people. Now, you know, I basically photographed everything. As you know, I went down to Detroit yesterday and back. Sucks not talking to anybody, but that's the way it is. Still nice to get down there and look around. Zach, I know you recognize that car out in the field. I thought about that ever since I took those photos. I think I got to get back there and take some more. It just sums up Delray so much. Yeah, it's true. That's the way I look at it, Mark. Yeah, you're right. I don't really have anything to take photos of, to tell you the truth. I'm all burned out. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't trust him down there though, Mary. You know, if you're in a like up and up place where, you know, law enforcement's respected and everything's on the up and up, no problem. You know, you have a comfort in not violating the law and not thinking some cop's going to make up a bunch of bullshit and lock you up for nothing. I don't have that comfort down there. Some of the cops are good guys, but other ones, they're always getting in scandals down there and bullshit, and I just don't trust them. I'm pretty sure it was Becky. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, she has a unique look, and I'm pretty sure it was her. Her back was to me, and I passed her, and it was right around where she's living. So yeah, she had a pizza box with her. I could be wrong, but I think it is. You know, I didn't want to be talking to anybody down there, so I just kept on going. Pretty sure it was her, though. I mean, Becky's got a unique look. And the way she walks and the whole bit, yeah. I mean, honestly, I'd like to just go down there with some cash and feed it to him through a crack in the window. I mean, the hard part about it is like, and Becky's one of these, Becky doesn't want to get out of there. And that kind of curtails the donations that people want to send. You know, if you know somebody has absolutely no intentions of getting out of that area, quitting that lifestyle, it kind of makes you think, I don't know if I want to support this. I go through it all the time. Man, I've learned so much from being down there, from just like a novice guy that knew nothing. I didn't know anything about heroin addiction or crack or what the difference was. And, you know, when I first was down there, and, you know, I was thinking, why don't you just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and, you know, do something else? Well, I get it now. I'm telling you, it's the worst fate than death, if you ask me. They're on the fringe of death 24/7. Oh, that's all right. No problem on the English. Yeah, I mean, there's some good cops down there. There was a cop that I met when down there doing an investigation a long time ago. Jack Tynan was his name. He just died here about a year ago. He was like an old school cop. What a good guy. Yeah, Mary, but in Becky's case, she likes the lifestyle, believe it or not. There's, you know, if Becky had a lot of money and was married to a Wall Street guy working on Wall Street, she'd be like a busybody, go-getter, gossip monger, Kardashian follower. Some people like the drama. They like the hustle and bustle. They like the unnormal relationships between the Johns, the cops trying to get them, the highs, the lows. You know, like people talk about, you know, being religious and put all their eggs in one basket. Well, some of the people down there, and Becky's an example, they put all their eggs in one basket and they're going to go for it. Now, they may OD on fentanyl tomorrow, but this is what they've decided to do, and they're going to ride it out until the final last breath. And that's hard to agree with. It really is, man. I mean, I go through it all the time, you know. I mean, I'm down there. I give Marguerite money, and I know she's going to go spend it for crack, but I mean, not all the time. I just don't want to end up bullshitting people. I don't want to say, well, I'm not really sure what she's going to do, or there's no strings attached. The truth of the matter is look, in Marguerite's particular lot in life, you know, what's going to be the game changer? If Marguerite goes and legally purchases alcohol and gets blitzed on the $20 I gave her, is that any different? I mean, I don't want to say it's not my business, but it's really not. So on one hand, I think, well, they're just going to ride into the sunset the way they want. And on the other hand, I think, well, I don't want to contribute to this lifestyle. But look, Becky, Marguerite, all these people were down there well before I ever showed up. And they're going to be down there after. And if I can have a nice conversation with them and know that if they needed help, I could maybe offer it or connect the dots, I'd do it. But in the same token, I'm aware of what the relationship is. And it could go tits up anytime. I mean, you would think this knowledge that I've got through the people that I've interviewed would project into the future and you could head some people off at the past, but it doesn't work that way. I could go up to young girls nowadays and say, hey, look at how these girls are all dead now. They did the same thing you did. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. It's a shitty way to live, man. I'm telling you. I just can't figure out why society doesn't have a more vested interest in ending this, because the debt to society is cost prohibitive. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you ended up writing them a check to use methadone and paying for their apartment, it would cost society less than it does under this business model. You know, they go into the hospital for a week or two, endocarditis, that's all paid. Marguerite just had a $100,000 pacemaker put in. I mean, you're not getting away from funding this, whether you like it or not. So, you know, the cost of society is nuts. You know, just tying up law enforcement and you name it. So that's it, man. So that's why I just say that I'm really not doing anything. You know, just be nice to them. I'm not capable of really changing their lives. You know, what if I could? I would help them. But I'm just, it's not like I have much to do with it. You know, they're adults. And I do think a lot of them just wish they wouldn't wake up in the morning. That's the impression I get. I mean, you don't need to be down there to wish that. You can just be depressed. You know, everybody thinks that you got to be a drug addicted sex worker on Michigan Avenue to have a crappy outlook on life, but you don't. There's people that have new cars and good jobs that feel just as shitty as they do. They're just doing something else. Looking for other people to make their happiness. Not going to stop me from playing this disco, though. Oh, yeah. That's what we need, to play more music like this. This girl's got an excellent voice. Why she isn't a superstar, famous singer, I don't know. All her songs are killer. Hands up in the sky if you're having a good time. Sounds good to me. Unless it's the SWAT team. Yeah. Yeah, and she had a great voice. Really does. Her name is Waycat, Waykap. This next song's from her too. Killer voice. This is the instrumental version, same song. Let's see if I can see it from her songs. Waycat. Oh yeah, here's a bunch of songs from her. A lot of them are instrumental version though. She's got a lot of songs though.
It's getting closer to midnight. I tried to get closer to you. Drinking courage from a red cup now. I will soon make a move.
Yeah, good luck with everything, Mary.
Ooh, I can taste it.
Hang in there.
The bittersweet
Congratulations.
a risk worth taking. If it's a shot, baby, I adore you. Maybe I adore you. Baby, I adore you. I try to focus on breathing. My heart is lifting my beat. Your lips against that red cloud makes me lose my mind completely. Ooh, I can taste it. The bittersweetness of taking a shot. A risk worth taking it. It's a shot at love. Baby, I adore you. Baby, I adore you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Mary.
Baby, I adore you.
So I'm gonna let this play. I'm gonna fool around with some movies, look for some other movies to upload. So go ahead and chat. I'll keep an eye on it.
Baby, I adore you. Baby, I adore you.
See you, Lisa. All right, take care. I'm gonna sign off here too. I'll be back on later. It's hard to keep an eye on this and do something else. Have a good day, guys.